The last place I wanted to be was Frostnipistan.
This one's wife. She is totally useless. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I have spent some considerable time recently programming the ultracomputer with information about this one's wife. I've done this to answer the question, is she totally useless? I have fed into the ultracomputer oodles of evidence of what she has been doing since she came to prominence. I then went even further back, going through the annals of history, finding the information from the internet about the things that she has done in her past. I've inputted it all. I've taken information from interviews, video footage of her in action, press coverage, direct quotations, puff pieces that she's put forward. It's all been thrown into the mix to make a determination as to, is she totally useless? And it's quite a momentous occasion because you join me as the Ultra is undertaking its final computations. Shouldn't be long now. There we have it. The result has come up on the screen and is also accompanied by an audio representation of the outcome. It is... she is totally useless. The ultracomputer has determined that she wanted to be an author, and she failed at that. She decided she'd be a public speaker, and she failed at that. That she was going to promote coffee, and she failed at that, not even being able to undertake a high five properly. She decided that she would make fantastic podcast content, and she failed at that. She was going to do Disney voiceovers. She failed at that. She was, of course, going to star in a rom-com. She failed at that. She was going to be the face of Dior. She failed at that. She was going to be in the Senate. She failed at that. She was going to star in a film with Kevin Costner. She failed at that. She was going to star in a Marvel franchise. She failed at that. She was going to stun the world with magnificent, wonderful, amazing Netflix content. She failed at that. She was going to win an Oscar. She failed at that. She was going to star with Leonardo DiCaprio. She failed at that. She was going to win the hearts and minds of the world. She failed at that. She was going to bring about an amazing lifestyle brand. She's failed at that. Every single thing that this one's wife has turned her hand to, she has failed at. Why? Well, it's a clash of two worlds. The first is, she doesn't have any talent. Furthermore, she's a charisma-free zone. And add to that, she's disliked by a lot of people, which poses two further problems. One, you're relying on consumers. People aren't going to consume the product that she produces because they don't like her, which then leads to the issue that various organisations aren't going to partner with her because it will be seen as a waste of money. Why would you throw money at somebody who isn't going to enhance your brand, but rather is likely to damage it? You wouldn't. Accordingly, all of those factors have meant that she has failed. Now, there are some people who are largely talent-free, but they're famous for being famous. But what they've done is they've managed to steer a path of making themselves likeable or interesting. This one's wife has not been able to do either. She's only interesting in the sense of watching a car crash and as a vehicle for me explaining narcissism. But those inherent factors are the things that have meant that she's totally useless. Add to that, she keeps trying, and thus her uselessness becomes not only more highlighted, but becomes significantly emphasized. As the list I went through earlier on demonstrates, she flits from one thing to another because in her deluded world, she believes that she can do all of those things. Her narcissism tells her, you'll be brilliant at it. You're so capable, so competent. It's going to be a riot. And when it fails, of course, the narcissism doesn't say to her, yeah, that didn't work out because you're useless and you've no talent. It tells her, that didn't work because the book wasn't published at the right time, and being an A-lister didn't work out because the A-list were nasty to you and turned their backs on you for no reason. And that film with Kevin Costner didn't happen because Kevin Costner's an a-hole. And you didn't win an Oscar because the Academy's prejudiced against you. And you weren't the face of Dior because, let's face it, Dior is probably just run by pale, male, stale individuals, and they're prejudiced against you all. So every single time her narcissism will tell her, it wasn't your fault, it was somebody else's. And what that does is it continues to cause her to attempt to become something. That she thinks she can do the voiceovers or promote coffee or have a lifestyle brand or star with Kevin Costner or be an author or be a public speaker. It keeps her going. Now, for some narcissists, that works because there's a combination of being popular, likable, and maybe also having some talent. This drive propels them into a position of prominence and they become hugely successful. This one's wife has repeatedly failed because she doesn't have the necessary ingredients, added to which that she's not likable, and then her narcissism, rather than go, do you know something? The material I've been given here really is useless. Can't work with it. Let's just quit while we're ahead. She's got plenty of money in the bank. Let's just leave it at that, huh? It won't. Because it needs her to control as many people as possible. It needs her to get that fuel. And it keeps telling her that she can succeed. There's no sense of accountability for failure. That's always somebody else's fault. That's always placed at somebody else's door. So she keeps going. And as a further example of that, as a consequence of the fact that she's not been able to get a CEO. So not only has she launched this American Riviera Orchards Retirement Homes lifestyle brand, it's gone off half-cocked, as we all know, and it hasn't even got a CEO to run it. Richard Eden and Ed Holt report in the Daily Mail, the Duchess of Sussex was unable to fulfil her ambitions within the royal family. Now she seems to be struggling to achieve them outside it as well. This one's wife has failed to find a chief executive officer for her new cooking and lifestyle business, American Riviera Orchard Retirement Homes, despite having interviewed several candidates for the position and having begun the search 5 weeks ago. The initial CEO search has not panned out so far, a California-based source said. Why has this not come about? Combination probably of two things. One, many people wouldn't go near it. What, work with her? You've got to be kidding. Therefore, you're probably going to end up with 4th or 5th tier individuals applying for it. And of course, this one's wife believes that she knows more than anybody else, despite having never run anything properly in her life. She will therefore reject these individuals, and therefore it's no surprise that she's not been able to find anybody. A lack of options to begin with, and she'll be too choosy when it comes to making that selection, probably believing that she'd be a more effective CEO. These difficulties have led to an intriguing new development. This one's wife has begun negotiations with Netflix about the American streaming giant entering into a commercial partnership with American Riviera Orchard. I don't really believe this. Are Netflix that stupid? They've wasted so much money on this woman already. They're desperate to get out of the contract. Do you think they'd really enter a commercial partnership? Or perhaps they think they can recoup some of the money that they've spunked on her this way. The source said this is something new for Netflix. It would run the lifestyle business with this one's wife, developing products as spin-offs from her show. If a partnership is agreed, it's likely that Netflix would install its own CEO to run operations. This just underpins how useless she is. She can't even select a CEO, so Netflix has to do it for her. The model for the potential partnership is said to be the deal that American television stars Chip and Joanna Gaines have with HGTV, nothing to do with me, by the way, Warner Brothers, for their Magnolia network. The husband and wife duo host a home renovation show, Fixer Upper, and sell lifestyle products such as bedding inspired by the program. Quelle surprise that this one's wife is not being original and that she's having to copy somebody else's model. This one's wife is said to hope that American Riviera Orchard retirement homes, which will focus on home, garden, food and lifestyle wares, as that's never been done before, will be highly lucrative. Well, of course she does. She's deluded, and this is a residual benefit. Netflix has more than 250 million paid subscribers around the world. That may well reduce if they continue to get into bed with this one's wife. But this suggestion that they will implement this partnership and that they will put in place a CEO again demonstrates that she is totally useless. She can't even get that right. And it's almost like she goes running to Netflix to say, I don't know what to do, can you sort it out? Or there's a problem, you need to sort it. Or rather, Netflix look at it and go, Jesus Christ, this is another clusterfuck that we're going to have to sort out. But it just emphasizes how totally useless this one's wife is. And her uselessness stems from the fact that she doesn't actually have any talent, but that she believes that she has because her narcissism causes her to believe that she's absolutely brilliant, when she quite clearly isn't. And what this does provide to us is a good old laugh at her hapless jam promotions and her ridiculous attempts to persuade the world that she's an author and a public speaker, etc. Time and time again, the unflushable turd will keep popping up and providing us all with a jolly good laugh at her latest example of her complete incompetence. It's important to point this out because it helps you understand why certain individuals you may know in your private life keep trying to succeed when you can see that they're not very good at whatever they turn their hand to. In some instances, you just think, oh yeah, they keep plugging away, they're a trier. But look again, and you may well see that actually this is a narcissist who can't accept that failure, because failure is a threat to control, and that they are deluded. You might recognize that there are friends that you have who seem to think that they're always going to be the next best thing or the next big thing in relation to some invention or product or service that they're developing, that they really believe they can reach the top, when you look at them and think they haven't got the ability or the talent. Why do they think that they have? Well, it could be that there's narcissism at work. And this is why my work around this one's wife is fundamental in terms of helping people around the world look again at relationships, people that they're involved with, and question what might actually be going on here. Is there a situation similar to the behaviours, facets, characteristics, and dynamics that are exhibited by this one's wife? The conclusion is she's totally useless, and she'll continue to be so. Watch out for more catastrophes on the horizon. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.